Welcome to Tilecast. Tilecast is about putting together the tiles of the biblical mosaic of Jesus' mission. We want to explore the themes relevant to all of Jesus' teaching. My name is Ty Nickel, and I'm the minister for the Essex Village Church of Christ here in Charleston, South Carolina. Enjoy the Tilecast. We continue talking about the kingdom of heaven and the messianic mission being the same. We find that Jesus is likening himself to that of a shepherd, to that of a woman who lost a coin, and to a father who had two sons in Luke chapter 15. We find these images to be that of the messianic mission like we would find in John chapter 13, where Jesus washes the disciples' feet as a symbolic gesture of his entire life mission. When Jesus lays down in the door of the sheep in the parable in John chapter 10, Jesus is again likening himself to the good shepherd that lays his life down for the sheep. This is his entire life mission. This is what the kingdom of heaven coming upon the earth is all about. So when Jesus is speaking in response to the Pharisees and scribes who grumble at him because he received sinners and ate with them in Luke chapter 15 verse 2, we find Jesus responding with images that demonstrate exactly what God is doing through him. Now, there are different depths of understanding about these parables, and the Pharisees and scribes would have understood exactly what Jesus was trying to explain to them, perhaps in a rough and sarcastic way at times, because the Pharisees and scribes would have perhaps thought of themselves not as a shepherd, not as a woman, and not as a father who had two sons that rejected or shamed the father. And they also would have not liked the idea of unclean shepherds, and they would not have liked the idea of a woman who would have been used as imagery for God's activity. And we find that Jesus lowering himself in John chapter 13 to wash the disciples' feet as that of a servant would have also contrasted their idea of what the messianic mission is all about. If we recall the Davidic warrior, the Moses-like prophet figure, the Exodus-type deliverer, and a priestly figure that is common in Jewish thought in the first century about what the messianic mission would be like, Jesus is contrasting those images with that of a servant, with one who is like a shepherd who will go into dangerous places to find one out of 100 sheep. And then we find Jesus talking about himself in light of being a woman who in a very dark house would have rejoiced over finding that one really valuable coin. And then again, a shamed father who has two rebellious sons. We find that the sons in the parable in Luke chapter 15 represent Israel. Israel has gone astray, and they are in an exilic state, according to the covenant of Moses, and they all need rescuing. Jesus comes to rescue the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And this is critical for understanding the parables as well. Yes, Jesus comes to rescue the entire world from its sin and idolatry and to do away with evil, but we find here in the parables that we see Jesus as an image of a deliverer, a rescuer, someone who conquers, and someone who mediates as a priest as well. We're going to dive deeper into these parables in the next Tilecast.